Okay, this is the meeting of the Personnel Committee on January 26, 2022. As a preliminary matter, please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. This is Claire Pond, Chair of the Personnel Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me prior to me calling the meeting to order. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Sue Terrian.
You froze, but I think you probably said my name.
Sue Terrian.
I'm here.
Okay. Tom Bradley.
Tom is here, but he's on mute, so I'm asking him to unmute.
He said I'm here.
Okay.
He texts Sue to tell her. Oh boy. And staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Margaret Nadowitz.
I'm here.
June Poland.
Here.
And we also have some guests tonight, and that's the Board of Assessors, including the Assessing Director, Molly Reed. And
Here.
Molly, I see you.
Here.
Great. And Kevin Pond, Roger Bradley, and Beverly Wheeler. So thank you for attending. I think I just want to do one thing before we move on, and because we'll let the assessors go first, and that way they don't have to stay on the entire meeting. One of the items I wanted to bring up was the minutes of the meeting. I had sent out the minutes of 12/29 and January 12th for review. And after I sent them out, I did notice a revision that needs to be made. So I'd like to make a motion that I revise the minutes to include Zoom versus in-person meetings, because on the minutes I put that they were in-person meetings instead of Zoom meetings, because on December 29th, we had to go to the Zoom meetings. So given that information.
With that change and amendment, I want to make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Okay. Any other discussion? Tom? Well, I will second that then. And all those in favor? Aye.
Sue, aye.
Okay. Tom, where'd he go? He's gone. Oh, no, there he is.
No, he's there.
He's
but
got
is
his
he in?
hand up. He put his hand up.
He said aye.
Okay, great. So voted. Thank you very much. All right. So I wanted to get on with the Board of Assessors. One of the things that I did want to bring up before before Molly and the board start, is that we had received a memo with the performance evaluations back in November. And I apologize if our committee didn't act on this. We were of the assumption that this was something that was going to be done with the town administrator and then coming to personnel and then going to the select board as what usually occurs. So we apologize if you had expected us to take make a decision on the information that you brought forward to us in your memo at the end of November. So anyway, without further ado, I want to bring you on so that you can talk a little bit about some of the things you want to ask us.
That's one of the things I know that we're sort of, the Board of Assessors is sort of on their own and not sure what the flow is. So that was one question about the performance evaluations, if they were accepted or not, or if you're going to review them later, or also the job descriptions needed to be reviewed. So I didn't know.
Okay, one of the things just on the job descriptions themselves, I know that we needed a cleaner copy because we couldn't read it. we couldn't read the attached job descriptions, Molly, that were attached to the back of the memo.
Okay,
Because I think they might have been highlighted, some of the changes that you had made. So we couldn't read that. So we've asked Margaret or June to get a copy of that to us so that we would have a clean copy. But I guess one of the things that I wanted to, you had presented the job descriptions, but I wanted to ask Margaret, what did others do that had changes in the job descriptions? How did they go about presenting their changes, Margaret?
They presented them in the same way. And so the idea with this particular performance appraisal process was that job descriptions were to be reviewed as part of the performance appraisals for employees. My hope was that all of the job descriptions that had to be marked up would be able to be changed at once rather than doing it piecemeal at the end of this process. So it wasn't as if we were pulling out some and not others, but the departments were specifically asked to review job descriptions as part of this process, which Molly did.
Okay.
and
Others did as well.
unfortunately, I'm much better in Excel than Word, and I didn't know how to do the line outs the way other people had edited, and I had highlighted, and I did it the only way I thought I could by doing those highlights. So I apologize for that. Maybe I can do it so that I'll highlight the words opposed to the whole sentences, and maybe you'll be able to read it better.
Yeah, that would be great. And again, we were unsure what the process was. I think we thought that they were all going to go to Margaret, and then Margaret was going to make recommendations. So I'm sorry. And Margaret, same with you. I thought.
No, it just hasn't been done yet. I have a lot of stuff I need to go through, and I apologize that I haven't been able to jump on some. Meanwhile, Tom has his hand up in the audience, so I don't know what he's looking to do, but yeah, I do, that's my intent. My intent was to try to get all the HRS standardized job descriptions updated and sent over to the personnel committee and the select board so that all changes could be made and we wouldn't be doing it piecemeal anymore.
All right. Well,
Okay.
we do have some
We have to also
changes.
remember, we just got a few of these evals, so we haven't we're just getting some of the endings in. So
Right.
this process takes a lot longer than unfortunately it should.
Okay, I
So
guess
I think that if we could get a copy more of the job descriptions, we could even pick them up from you if you'd like. That way we can get them to the committee to take a look at especially with some changes coming up. We want to make sure that Margaret gets to see them, that the team gets a chance to comment on them, especially with the changes coming.
okay, that's
I scanned, Claire, after you said that you couldn't read those, I scanned those and I thought that I had emailed them to the committee. Apparently I didn't. So I'm going to see if I can dig them up now and email them to the committee, because I scanned them on a much lighter tone, so that you'd actually be able to read them. I'll see if I can pull them up.
Okay, and as long as the information in there, Molly, was the information that you wanted to have in there after the HR consultant met with you and you determined what the job description said and what it should say, we can take a look at that once that comes to us.
Yeah, there's, especially for the administrative assessor, which is the position that's now open.
Yep.
There was a lot of changes. It just didn't seem like the right job description at all, and not knowing what some of the I guess not knowing how the job descriptions are pan out in the rating system. I didn't know if I used the correct words or the correct whatever, I don't know what HR is not my strong suit.
That's
So,
okay. Well, I think that, and Sue, and Margaret and Tom, anybody, please jump in anytime here. I think that one of the things that that was good for us is that the HR consultant that did our HR study was somebody who's been in the field a long time, and she knows a lot about what particular positions do. So that was a good thing for
Yeah.
us, because to try and figure that all out on our own is very, very difficult. So I think that was a good thing for us. So when you say, when we spoke with Sandy, that she was alluding to the fact that she knows many of the positions pretty much inside and out, because she's been working with municipalities so much.
Right, and the job descriptions, I thought she went over a lot of them, and I know we tried to go through as many as we could. And I agree with Margaret, I think we just need, because we do have other departments that also have changes in the job descriptions, that it's
Yeah.
easier for us to do it all at once, so they all look the same, they're all in the same format. It's something that's happened before there was a personnel committee, that job descriptions were written differently, job advertisements were written differently, and we've really worked hard to bring it all together and do the same thing for everybody.
yes, that's good.
Yeah, I'm
I
just, oh, you froze again. I'm with Margaret that I would, like to get all of them together at the same time and then review all of them. And I think we are almost at that point where we should have them by now.
Some have been done piecemeal when jobs have opened up. So when vacancies
Right.
have been created and people have been hired, those have been able to be tackled. We just haven't been able to get to the rest of them. And Personnel Committee, I just sent you the lighter scans of those red lines. I apologize. I had scanned those and left them in the common drive before I left work.
Okay. So if we were to review, because Molly, you said that the administrative assessor is a position that's currently open. That was the one that was vacated by Rose.
Yes,
And have you determined, and have you spoken with Margaret at all about your thoughts about replacing that position and how you're going to be replacing it?
no, not yet,
Okay,
but I did, I had sent you, I had taken a stab at writing a job posting. I don't know if you had a chance to see it or not, because my board met on Monday, so they discussed it, and then I forwarded on to you. So I'd like to get that up and running as soon as possible. Although if I look on my assessor's website, there's like 20 jobs a day that's posted, so it's going to be very competitive. And I'd also like in this budget, not knowing what Rose's plans were when the budget first was done, I had, because she could only work the 20 hours, I had changed the job description. I had changed the budget to 20 hours, and I'd like to put it back to 25 and mine back to 30. So that might be more enticing for someone to come on.
and you said the assessing director at 30. Is that what you currently are, Molly? Or
Well,
you're working extra hours while Rose is out, right?
yeah, but that's just, the job's got to be done, so.
Right, right.
I did read the job posting, and I do think we just have, like I said, get it into the same format as the ones that we have used recently. I know the information can be carried over, but I just know that we're working really hard to make everything the same.
Consistent.
Yes, consistent would be nice.
Well, it is, and in that way.
I'm the assessor. Everything's supposed to be fair and equitable.
So the job posting, I did see it, but I'm sorry, this isn't a conflict of interest or anything, but when it came in, Mal, I thought it was for Kevin to look at, not for personnel to look at. So I apologize for that. So we need to take a look at the job posting, and again, the format needs to be the same as other positions. Margaret, have you any thoughts on that in terms of the posting of positions? Is that something that needs to, once we do send that back with recommended changes, that would go back to June again for her to take a look at it, or would it come to the committee through the Board of Assessors?
The job ad itself?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, the job ad itself goes to the Personnel Committee and you
Okay.
approve the job ads. The job description now, because the job is going to be posted, this is where that particular job description should be updated. So that we're going to have to work on.
Right.
If you, I've got a PDF. Molly, do you have that in Word by any chance? Or did you just mark up the PDF? Because if you have it in Word, I could at least get that over to the Personnel Committee before I leave. And then, and they could look at it at their next meeting. They could actually update it, and then we could get it to the Select Board. So it goes to Personnel, then Select Board.
Okay, I do have it in Word. I don't know if I can get it and be on Zoom at the same time.
Oh, no, it's okay. If you want to shoot it to me afterwards,
Okay,
as long as it's the red line, so I can incorporate all the red lines for the Personnel Committee's review at their next meeting.
okay.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, because I had that one. I pulled that one out separate, so I do have it in Word.
Oh, good. Okay. So that'll be one that we'll need to work on. Actually, if we're going to be posting something for that position, we'll take a look at that earlier than the others.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then I wanted to ask how the comp towns were picked.
I'm unmuted. The comp towns were picked based on location, so geographic distance from Berlin and relative size to Berlin. So Sandy took a very close look at the towns that are along the 495 corridor in this area and along Route 2. So some towns that are even bigger than Berlin. The Personnel Committee, once she actually had picked out about 9 towns, I think it was, the
Yep.
Personnel Committee came back and said, look, we need a few smaller comps. And that's when, I'm trying to
Was
think
that
of which towns.
Bolton, Harvard?
Bolton,
Yeah.
Harvard, and one more were added. Bolton, Harvard, and Sterling were added
Yep.
after the initial group.
Because we felt that we wanted to have more of, like Bolton's a lot like us. And I wasn't sure in Harvard, and then Sterling was geographically close. So those were a few towns that we wanted added because, you know, some of the other towns that are in there, Ayer, Foxborough, Boylston, yes, that's a good comparison. Hudson is, their population is much higher than ours. And so we looked at some of those things too, Molly, when we went back to Sandy and recommended that she get additional towns.
Okay, well, some of those towns don't have an in-house assessor. They hire their assessor out. In Bolton, Harvard, and one other town that was on the list. So there was 3 towns that I don't know how she compared salaries, because if she had called for a salary survey, they wouldn't have given that. I don't think they would have given that out as a salary. That's comes out of a different line item. So I'm not sure how comparable those 3 towns are to the assessor's office.
So the director of assessing for those 3 towns, Sterling, Bolton, and Harvard, that all have an contracted director of assessing, there wasn't any information from any of those towns.
Okay,
There is for the administrative assessor, and there is for Sterling. They do have a property lister, data collector listed for Sterling, but for the director of assessing, none of those towns gave us any director of assessing numbers.
okay,
And there were also several other departments, Molly, that were the same where the towns didn't have it. And that's one reason why we asked for more. There were a couple towns that didn't have the positions that we had. So we asked to get more towns so we could get more information.
okay.
Folks, I just want you to know that I have Tom Bradley on speakerphone here, so he's able to talk when needed. I just wanted him to be able to weigh in if he has a question. He can hear everything and see everybody, but he cannot unmute on the computer. So he's on speaker here.
Okay, great.
You're welcome.
So does that help with an explanation on where some of the compensation information came from?
Yeah,
Okay.
so if there's, is it possible that I could find other towns that might be more compatible for the assessors, or is it too late now for that? Everybody moved.
The way this particular, and I'm not going to speak for the personnel committee, but the way this particular study was done was that a group of comp towns was picked based on, relative size, EQV, area, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't that we picked separate towns for separate departments. So I don't know what the personnel committee's thoughts are on that. We could, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I think that the survey itself is pretty extensive, and with there being over 50 positions that were reviewed, I think right now the data that we're using for each of the positions is consistent.
Okay.
So I'd just be and I want to hear from other members of the committee. I'd be a little concerned about not being consistent with the process that we used for each of the other positions, that's all.
Just some questions.
Because we compared it with all the different jobs with towns that are pretty close to ours. Just that we picked just these three particular towns for the assessors we picked for all positions.
So Tom said I think Tom essentially, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom is agreeing with you and saying that they picked the towns based on the sum total of positions or all of the positions comprehensively and not just one group.
Right, that's true.
Is that right, Tom?
That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
And we could get very inconsistent if one group decided, if Molly took the assessors and said, I'm going to go find 3 towns that I want you to compare to. And then June said, I'm going to another 3 towns that I want the accounting department to go to. And Margaret goes to another 3 towns. We've kind of put ourselves into a huge pot of
Back
good old
where you started.
inconsistency. Exactly. And I think the biggest thing I've learned since I've been on this committee is really we need to get some consistent policies. And I think we've worked hard to do that.
Yeah, it looks like you have. It's
And that's a work in progress.
And I know we're working constantly and we'd love to
Yeah.
say we got it all done, but it doesn't stop. Like you said, assessors are open, positions all the time, and we are doing open positions all the time. We've been busy.
Molly, do you have some concerns about the data that was used? I'm
well,
looking
not,
at it.
no, I think that I think that the bottom line where the positions got grouped into grades is
Yeah.
more consistent with how it should be. I
Oh,
just
good.
wasn't sure how important the job descriptions and those comps that might not have had, those towns that don't necessarily have a full-time in-house assessor, how that fit in.
Okay, all right. Well, I do know that in Bolton, in Harvard, and Sterling, those, unfortunately, those were the 3 towns we added on, Molly, and those are the 3 towns that have a outside. We didn't know, of course.
Yeah,
at the
no,
But the one good thing was that the administrative assessor working within the office, at least we were able to pull from at least 2 of those towns what the range is for that admin person that works in the office for that department.
yes.
And I feel pretty good about our data and where we are in comparison with the other folks right now.
And then I just wanted to, I guess my expectations of the HR study were overzealous on my part, but also the workload in the office since I've been there, I've been here since 2016, has increased tremendously. And I don't think that my position, I think of it as a salaried position. So I've worked more than 30 hours since I started. And I would like that to be looked at to maybe get some more hours in that position. And I'm not sure how to
Put
go
that-
about doing that
Yeah.
for you.
Put it on our list right now. I mean, I absolutely understand, but we also have about 5 other departments that are saying the same thing. So I know we have a list right now of positions with either extended hours or extended people, and we can add yours. So when we do have the discussion, put them all together.
Okay. And then, well, I also sent you a memo because I talked with my board on Monday and I'm planning to retire in August. And so my job description is going to need to be looked at for an opening also. And I think that I've worked so hard to get the office on a level, steady pace. I would hate to have it fall to an incumbent that's not trained well.
Right.
So I'm going to cheer up.
Yeah, I saw your letter. I saw your letter, and that was very, very nice. And I'm sure, I know you had a tough time doing that. So thank you, because at least you're giving Margaret and June and the administrative team, you know, some time here to kind of mull over how to move forward. You're going to be able to be included in any discussions that come up with that. Talk about what alternatives we might have with your board, with you and your board. No, that was very nice.
I just know that it's very tough out there to get qualified people in. So even if the administrative assessor's job could be a stepping stone for at least the 6, from whenever we hire till the beginning of the next fiscal year, and then plan to promote within if that's possible. I'm concerned and I don't want to leave it unattended.
Right, right.
And I put August 27th thinking our tax rate would be set, but I'm not leaving till after the tax rate set.
Oh,
I don't want June to get any more gray hairs. So I don't know what else. I guess just a lot of thought and planning.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't think,
So
don't
Molly, I
think-
just want to, may I, Claire?
You
I just want
absolutely.
to- All right, so I just want to be sure before I leave, and so June is clear, that you want to make the budget request change to reflect, to make those changes to the hours for the admin assessor back up to 25, and then the assessing director back to 30. All
Yeah.
right, so that way, okay, that's good. That's good to know now. So we can make that adjustment at this point in time. I just want to do it before it's too late.
Right.
yeah, and I'm still waiting for a couple of budget requests to come in that I had estimated. So I was hoping that by the time we did our budget hearing, I would have that information so I would be able to update it at one time, but I don't know because I keep bugging people, but I haven't heard back.
Molly,
Okay.
do you, you're coming tonight to the finance committee?
Well, I can, but our budget
Oh.
meeting is the 2nd February.
Okay.
I think February 2nd.
Okay, if you don't have the final numbers by then, just note that and they can, you know,
Yep.
they can stay on it. Thank you.
Any other information that you'd like us to know?
No, just you guys are doing a good job. I know it's hard and you have other lives too.
But no, we'll work on this and we'll help you through this in terms of the job descriptions and any questions that we have. Once we get them, we can reach out to you and have you attend our meeting.
Okay.
And we can ask you some questions. So, but thank you very much. We
Perfect.
appreciate you coming forward and asking us. Sue, do you have any
No.
other?
Thank you. And yes, we can add it to the list, but it's the same, luckily,
Yeah.
the same type of things for all the departments, which is good. We're on the right track then.
The list never ends.
Tom, do you have anything to add?
No, not right now, Margaret.
Not right now, Tom. I think Tom says.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming.
Thank
And,
you.
we're going to move on to our other business that we have.
Okay.
Bye, assessors. Bye, Molly. See you soon.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. So the next order of business that we have for our meeting is, let's see. You just click on that red thing down at the bottom to leave the meeting.
Or he can stay.
Yeah, you can
Kevin, you can
stay
stay
if you
if you want.
want.
I was gonna say, wow, he was just dismissed.
Oh, there he goes, he's
He
gone.
left quick. That's the button.
Okay, so the next item is the PAFs, which we had quite a few of them this week. And, okay. So the first sets of PAFs that we had for this week to review was Eric Shartner, and that's the permanent chief position. Is that correct?
It is
And
correct, yes.
The second PAF that we received was for Fred Cummings. And that's for the permanent position as well?
And that's
great.
effective Monday, January 31st.
Okay, great. I'm gonna write 131. All right. And Eric's was effective, was it?
November 29th, and the contract is, well, it's not attached to what you have, but I sent it along and that'll be attached to the personnel action form.
Okay. And the other PAFs that were attached, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 of them. They were for the market adjustments that the committee had reviewed from the HR study and brought forward to the town administrator, who brought forward to the Board of Selectmen for market adjustments. And these market adjustments are being done on 1/3/22. So they are retroactive back to the 3rd. And do you need me to read the names of these, or?
I don't know that it's whatever you'd
We've
like
read
to do.
them. We've read them several times, and I have the list in front of me on a piece of paper. So I would
Okay.
like to make a motion that we accept all the PAFs presented.
Okay,
I just want to note that the 2 of the positions for the market study adjustments, 2 of the positions actually had later effective dates because they completed probationary period on certain
That's right.
dates. So, okay.
that's right, yep. And that was a highway person and public safety
Yes.
person. Yep,
Mhm.
okay.
And then the only other personnel action form is for the deputy fire chief, who had to
Oh, that's
retire
right.
retire and then be reinstated due to Worcester County retirement rules.
Desertel, right?
Yes.
Right, June, you sent that one, right,
Yes, that is correct.
Jamie? Okay. All right, so,
Then I will make the motion again because I forgot the one for
me too.
the fire chief. Oh,
Okay,
June has one too.
Go ahead. Tom asked, why do we have to do that for one person? Okay, so that particular one, Tom, is a unique situation. We actually just had another recent situation that was exactly the same. In order for someone to switch retirement systems, they have to be terminated from the prior retirement system. So because he is now in a different retirement system as a full-time employee, we had to terminate him for us, but he's still able to come back and be reinstated to his, I'm sorry, go ahead, June. What?
Has to be for 2 weeks. He has to leave the employment for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
and that's what Donna had to do too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Is that okay, Tom?
Yes, that's
Okay.
fine. I just wanted to know it's just an ongoing thing because we've had to do it a couple times.
Yep. Then those are 2 of those unique situations. Yeah.
Okay.
so that's basically a town employee that worked for a different town and is receiving the retirement from that other town. They have to term here for a period of time, the 2 weeks.
It's actually a totally different county. I believe that he's
Oh.
leaving to. It's not within like Worcester County. It's going to a different system.
Okay, I was
So
thinking
that's
of them
why.
in Northborough is what I had been thinking. Okay, all right.
Being at Devon's, he might actually be in the state retirement system. I don't know. I mean, because they are a state, a state, well, quasi-state entity. I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
But it's not Worcester retirement, so.
all right. Sue, I think I'll make a second to your motion. Tom, June? Go ahead.
Did I send you over the PAF on Kenneth Poulin, the alternate plumbing and gas inspector? Or did I not?
Yes, Tom
Yes.
said.
I got it.
Yes, you did. It's here somewhere. Sorry. Yes, you did. Yep.
Okay.
That was the first one that came over to us. So that's great. Yep. So,
Just go
Sue,
one or two
include
meetings
that in
without doing.
in your motion?
I will second it.
Okay.
Tom
Any other
seconded.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the PAF, say aye. Aye.
Where did Sue go?
She is
coming back in.
Tom says aye, and I'll wait for Sue. It looks like she got bounced off somehow, so I'm gonna wait for her as an attendee again. I thought something might be up because you all of a sudden couldn't hear her.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Oh, and she texted me too that she couldn't hear me either.
Okay, oh, here she is again, okay. Okay, sometimes it takes that. Okay, she's coming.
Sue, can you hear me now?
She should be on her way up. Oh,
You're gonna need 5 phones for these meetings, Margaret.
Tom says I'm gonna need 5 phones for these meetings.
No, I can hear you now.
Sue, can you still
can
hear
hear you.
us, Sue?
I hear you now.
Okay, so there's a motion made and seconded on the floor, and we're voting on the PAFs that were presented. All those in favor? Aye.
Sue, I.
Tom, aye.
Okay, unanimous, thank you. Okay, so that was the second order of business. Do we have any other position vacancies or reviews and advertising that you need us to do this week?
Not this week, but I just wanted to give you an update on the Community Preservation Committee assistant. So the Community Preservation Committee is meeting tonight. Tim said their committee will vote on that standardized job description tonight and let the Personnel Committee know.
Okay, great.
Well, he'll get back to, so I mean, he might get back to June. I don't know, but they're acting on it tonight. So
And that was the job description for that?
yes.
Okay, great.
He also added that once the job description is approved, they'd be looking to get going on advertising the position. So
Okay. Okay, great. And we did see and approved the plumbing and gas inspector last time.
Mhm.
So,
Oh,
so
yes.
that was approved, right?
The job
At our
description, yes.
At our last meeting, the advertisement,
Yes.
Yes.
That was the electrical inspector.
I'm sorry, electrical
Yep.
inspector.
And so that deadline has passed. I checked in with Richard. The deadline to submit resumes was on the 24th for that one. I contacted Richard yesterday. I haven't heard anything back, but I asked him if he'd be interested in having a member of the Personnel Committee sit in, if a member of the Personnel Committee is interested in doing that, and if he'd be interested in having June sit in. Normally I would sit in on those. Same thing with the highway, the new highway position. So that they've gotten several applications for that. And I've offered to Fred, I shouldn't say I've offered to Fred. I've asked Fred if he'd be interested in having a member of the Personnel Committee sit in on those interviews if a member is available, and if and June would sit in if she's available as well. Tom says he'll pick the highway.
And if they need to go with the electrical, would they be like after 3:30 if we could do it, or is that too late?
That might be able to be arranged. Tom said he would do electrical as well if they could be arranged after 3:30.
That's great.
Thank you,
Okay,
Tom.
thank you.
And if it has to be earlier in the day, I'm available during the day.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Sue. Tom says thank you.
Okay. The next item of business was we already did the market data, the merit data. Anything new with the budget or the town administrator information?
Yes, I do have something, and it's just an admission that I messed up, and I'd like to know how the Personnel Committee would like to proceed with the issue of vacation equity. I
That's
know
right.
that we're looking at changing the personnel bylaws. That absolutely has to happen. There's no question. In fact, I'd love to put a placeholder on the annual town meeting warrant to clean up those bylaws and try to shift some of this stuff to policy. But this is what I would like to do, and I need to know from you. Is it two? June, do we have 2 affected positions? 3 affected positions.
Total, I
3.
think of 3.
Total of 3 affected positions that are new hires who did not receive vacation benefits upon completion of their probationary period. So I'd like to know if I would like to be able to offer them a week to be taken before the end of this fiscal year, just as a matter of equity. And I just would like to know how the personnel committee feels about that. None of the affected positions require backfill for staffing, unless of course it's a snowstorm, in which case the department head would not allow vacation time to be taken if there was a snowstorm. So it's not that this would incur any additional cost on the town, but I do want to try to be equitable. So. And I know that the personnel committee has also been talking about allowing a vacation accrual after the probationary period anyway. So.
Well, we
Let's go
spent so
first.
much time. We spent so much time going over the vacation policy when we went through it on that part. And I think this is exactly what we've tried to change it to.
Yeah.
So I would support Margaret in doing this.
Yep. And I think we can make a vote to support that as well. I'd
Tom,
like to make,
how you?
Tom, what are you thinking about that? Are you okay with that?
No, when we discussed this before, I agree with Margaret and Claire. You remember when we first started, we had this issue because it's going to be a 2-week thing right away from now on, because it's just going to create problems in the long run.
So
So
I
I
think
agree
that,
with you, Margaret and Claire and Stu.
Okay, Tom agrees with everybody.
so then I think I'd like to make it into a motion then, if you guys are okay with that. I'd like to move that we vote to support internal equity on those new employees who may be affected by the vacation situation, and that we would like to offer 1 week within the first year. Am I saying that right?
Yes, it would be 1 week effective now, to be used by June 30th.
After their probationary period, right?
Yep, that's right. Yep, 1 week after their probationary period.
And I will second that.
Okay.
Tom
Anything
says he
else?
accepts.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
So
Okay, great.
Tom, I.
Thank you. Good. Thanks for remembering to bring that up.
And thank you for addressing it. I appreciate that.
The other item that I had down on here was Tom. Sue was wonderful to assist us with writing out our personnel report for the town report this year. And I sent it out to you, Tom, earlier this week. Have you had a chance to read that yet?
Yes,
I accept that. Very good.
he said it was very good.
Yeah, okay. So thank you so much, Sue, for helping out with that. That was wonderful. So the personnel committee town report, I'll be able to get it in by the 31st, so no problem. I'll get that uploaded tomorrow. And so we're good with that. And then anything else, Margaret?
Whew, I don't
Or
think
June?
so. I don't think so.
It's been a whirlwind. So as of next week, we'll have June, right? And
That's
so-
correct.
Okay, and are we having a meeting on, Sue, on the 3rd? I didn't put us in for the 3rd. I had put us in for the 16th. Are we okay? Or June, do you need us to meet on the 3rd?
On the 2nd, I think was when,
On the 2nd level?
because for some reason I thought you were meeting on the 2nd and the 16th, but maybe not.
Okay. Well, I'm asking the question. I wasn't sure because the 2nd is 1 week away. And I just wasn't sure if you had items that you need to bring to us for that meeting and or if you anticipate any. And if not, then I was gonna put us off and we'll have a little vacation until the 16th.
I
Unless we
don't
want
have
to
anything, so.
If
Okay,
you want to post it though, Claire, and then if
Yeah, I
June
probably-
says,
that
and then
just,
June can say I have nothing, and then we can cancel it. It's easier to
Okay.
cancel it than it is to post it in time.
okay, you're probably right. Thank you. Post and then if we can, we'll cancel.
You good with that, Tom?
Yes, that sounds good.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you can think of that anybody would like to discuss?
No.
Could I just, I have one question. Part-time highway snow person, a DOT physical, is that enough of a physical to have for seasonal snowplow?
I
My-
thought,
Yes,
Tom says yes. I agree with Tom too.
Okay,
Okay,
that was
the
easy.
DOT physical's fine. Because
okay, good.
2 years anyways.
It's for 3 years?
2 years.
Oh, 2 years. Okay.
2 years, yep.
Okay.
Probably good for DOT, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's physical anyways.
Okay. All right.
Question.
Thank you.
Okay, good. All right. All right. So if that means we can waive the regular physical, did that already come to us, June?
No, it's somebody who offered in case they were needed for this big coming storm
Okay, all right,
is what it was. So if you can get the physical, then it's a possibility, but otherwise it'll have to.
all right. So you guys have finance tonight, right?
Yes,
All right.
that's
Okay.
next.
Well, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I
oh,
just-
Margaret
I just-
has one more thing.
Just
Margaret.
one more really quick thing. So, the warrant is going to be opening, the town meeting warrant's going to be opening up on the 7th. At least I think it's going to be opening up on the 7th and not earlier than that. And then it's going to close on February 28th. So I'm
Okay.
going to put a placeholder for personnel bylaws.
Okay,
And a long time ago, we had done red lines to the personnel bylaws, and I'll dig those up and get them
Okay.
to all of you so you can start going through those again.
okay, all right,
All right.
okay, bylaws. All right. Okay, if nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Bye.
It's
Bless you.
7:22. Margaret, good luck.